My name is Raya Shatry. I am a senior analyst at Busara. I work with the risk management portfolio. Including women means that we're saying, hey, we know about your problems, we have information about what problems you're facing, and we have a solution. We've made a solution for you to cater to your needs, which is not bad, right? But designing with women means you have to go there and ask, what problems do you have? Which one is more important for you that we address, right? Not what we're finding important, but what is important for you, for us to address. How can we solve it? What solutions do you think are important enough for you to take up, enough for you to change behaviors for, right? If we're talking about behavioral changes in Busara, then it should be something that is worth a participant's need to change an entire behavior or to adapt a behavior. So I will give an example. In our portfolio, we were doing a project where we're trying to understand how can we design a mutual for women in savings groups in Kenya. And we did a lot of co-design sessions, and in one of them we went to an area that we knew from research, from literature review, from prior information that we had, is very prone to floods. So we kind of designed this flood cover, and we went with it to the ground and we said, hey, we have a flood cover and it actually caters to the needs that you have in this area. It is affordable, it would be part of the mutual, would you take it up? And we were really surprised because most of them said no. We asked why, and the response was, we're used to flooding in this area. Yes, it disrupts our daily activities, but it's not enough for us to purchase an insurance cover, right? What happens? We jump over a puddle, we have to use carts to move things around, we have to sweep more often than we need to. What we would really appreciate is a fire cover, right? So we asked, is fire prominent in this area? And they said, no, but if it does occur, it's more lethal for us, right? Our houses are not structured in a way that protects neighbors. So if a fire starts from a neighbor's house, eventually I'm sure it'll reach mine. And someone even said, I saw my kids playing with matchboxes on the mattress the other day. So I would rather pay for a fire cover on the off chance that it happens once in a decade than, pay for a flood cover that I'm now used to and that I do not feel interrupts my life as much as you think it does right now. And so just learning that helps us from stopping designing an intervention that we put so much time into, so much effort into, right? We've done a lot of literature review, we've done interviews with people who live there, and only to find that no, actually the residents don't need this, and even if they did, it's not something that they would want to take up. And that is what it means to move away from designing for women and go into designing with women. To answer that, I think we need to start by understanding what we lose when we start treating women as beneficiaries rather than decision makers. The first thing we lose is context. As I just mentioned, you lose insights that are important to your study, that are important to informing your intervention design, and therefore you end up with an intervention or a product that does not match the audience that you intended for it to match. Second, we lose accuracy. When you're designing a study and there's information that is missing, there's information that you're not aware of or blind to, right? A perspective that you're not seeing from, you end up again designing a study that is irrelevant or an intervention that might not really translate in the community that you're trying to apply it to. And therefore you have inaccurate findings, inaccurate data, inaccurate information, eventually an inaccurate implementation plan or intervention that does not work. Because of this, you have no impact in the community that you try to intervene in. I will give a hypothetical example based on a lot of the things we see in the field. For example, you want to design an insurance product for women in village X, right? You do formative research, you try to understand what is the earning capacity of women in this village, how much do they earn, how much can they afford for a product like this. You design a product based on their needs, right? Let's say this time it's in the area that we studied in, and it's a fire cover, they need it, it's affordable. You take it to the community, you launch it, and no one takes it up. most of the times, most of the times we see that women in certain areas earn, they have an earning capacity, they get an income, maybe not regular, but they earn enough to afford your product, right? But ultimately they don't make decisions on their own, or they don't make decisions at all, financial decisions. They will defer this to the spouse. So if you lack this information, you lack this context, the information that you had, as much as it is true, it is inaccurate at the end of the day. It does not cater to that context that you're looking into. And this is because you didn't co-design, you didn't go to understand what they spend their money on, what is their financial capability, what is their agency and independence when it comes to using their own finances. And because of that, you end up with a product that is not really working for the people in Village X. And this is what we lose when we start treating women as beneficiaries rather than decision makers. And this is how we have less and less of an impact with our work. You do work, you spend months on it, years on it, right? And then you launch an implementation plan and it flops because we didn't have context, and then that led to inaccurate information, and that ultimately affected the impact that we had in that community. We recently launched a book in collaboration with the farm team and the risk management team and a few external authors, called Climate Change is a Human Problem, Finding the Missing Voices of Climate Resilience. I think this book really embodies what that slogan means to risk management, or the risk management portfolio right now, and which is we're trying to design in order to give back voices to the communities that we serve. We're giving back voices to the people on the ground who live the lives that we research on and write about in our daily lives. They are the main source of information. They're the ones who live what we write about. Their daily experiences make a majority of our reports. And in order to understand, or in order to gain contextual information that informs sustainable interventions to drive behavioral change, then we definitely have to give to gain.